This bit of business with the Bills. The team fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey this morning. It follows what really was kind of a baffling loss at home to the Denver Broncos last night. Dorsey took over as offensive coordinator last season when Brian Daboll left for the Giants. As of today, former Bills quarterbacks coach Joe Brady has now stepped in to that role. So the Bills now sit at 5-5 on the season, leaving many fans calling for some kind of change in recent weeks. We are expected to hear from Bills head coach Sean McDermott any moment. It's going to be over Zoom. We'll bring that news conference to you as soon as it gets underway. But for now, we're going to head out to Highmark Stadium, where most Buffalo's Adam Benigni and our Bills insider Vic Carucci are talking about today's news. Hello to you both.
Hi there, Kate. Yeah, I think, Vic, this was a development that we all saw coming at some point in time, most likely the offseason, maybe the bye week. We've been talking about this for a number of weeks, given the way this offense has struggled really since the loss to the Jaguars in London. But your reaction to the timing today coming off that game last night?
Yeah, it just feels purely cosmetic. Of course, we sensed it coming, and it doesn't come as a surprise because the heat has been on Ken Dorsey. But in terms of the timing and in terms of what we saw here last night, Ken Dorsey's performance as offensive coordinator was not the biggest problem with the Bills.
No.
In fact, I'd rank this as one of his better games as a coordinator, certainly, but they served somebody up. They appeased a fan base and perhaps a business culture around the team that says, you got to do something. You got to give people a reason to believe that, the disaster that's upon us has some kind of hope, and I don't think this does it.
Well, in one sense, you could look at this as a knee-jerk reaction, right? Anytime you do something like this in season, right, it's a very risky proposition. By the way, as Kate mentioned, Sean McDermott, 4 p.m. scheduled Zoom. He's sometimes a bit late for that. We'll carry this as long as we can and take that the moment Sean McDermott starts talking. But I guess I would ask you this question. There's a positive reaction to a move like this among the fan base, Vic, given the struggles of this team and of this offense falling off so abruptly as soon as they got over to face the Jaguars in London. How often does a move like this work in season? Not very.
I can't think of a time when it really was transformative, that you do something like this and all of a sudden the offense, or if it's the defensive coordinator, the defense gets so much better. They're not going to reinvent themselves. The playbook, the game, everything that was put in place through months of offseason work is not going to get torn up. And the fact that you have Joe Brady, an interim offensive coordinator now who had been the quarterback's coach, he's going to work with the same plan, and maybe it'll be a different sequence of play calling on his part, but there is no magic wand that this new guy, and he's not new, is going to wave to change everything.
Let me ask maybe and address maybe the larger issue here, big picture, and it's how does this affect Josh Allen? Because there's some important context to consider. You're looking at the success they had under Brian Daboll as his offensive coordinator. Daboll leaves before last season to become head coach of the New York Giants. This was Josh Allen's hand-picked successor.
Right.
He campaigned for Ken Dorsey, the former quarterback's coach, to come in. They had a relationship. It was something they wanted to build on. It was going to be Dorsey's first time as an offensive play caller. The concern was now, Allen has kind of had that consistency in terms of this offense. Now I think moving forward, he has to step outside of that comfort zone a little bit. How does this affect Josh Allen? And quite frankly, he's been a part of the problem here.
We have heard a lot about Josh talking about what's inside of his head, right? This low positive term that he put out there, right from seemingly a sports psychologist playbook. And now you wonder where his head will be now. He had a kinship, a bond with Ken Dorsey. He pushed for this guy to get the job. The guy got the job because Josh Allen wanted him to have it. And now you wonder how much guilt, how much responsibility is Josh Allen also feeling? On top of how poor his play has been, he cost the guy that I think he really loved to have this job, his job. So where does it go from here? I know he says he had some good feelings about Joe Brady, liked his energy. He was quoted on that last year. But, hey, it's a reset button move at midseason. It's really going to be interesting to see where it goes.
It's kind of, look, at 5-5, they're going to have to win, 5 of their last 7 games realistically to have a shot at getting into the playoffs, right? That's the harsh reality of the situation they're in. As Josh Allen would say, as Von Miller has said, the clock is very much ticking, right? They're running out of runway. They're running out of games. Right now, you do something like this in season, you're looking and hoping for some kind of spark at this point. I think Ken Dorsey, as I said, they were going to make this move unless there was a dramatic turnaround. But I think as we wait for Sean McDermott here, I think it's important to look at the overall context, because for me, Vic, this dates back to last year. The second half of that Green Bay game, I think week 8 here, where all of a sudden the offense kind of lost some explosiveness. And yeah, they were winning games down the stretch last year, but look, they just got by Miami against a backup quarterback in the playoffs. Obviously what happened against the Bengals in the divisional round here and what happened last week in Cincinnati was almost a carbon copy of that in many respects. There has been a trend with Ken Dorsey in terms of the explosiveness or lack thereof with this offense that to me dates back to last season. So I think you have to look at his overall body of work because it very much factors into a decision like this.
That's fair to say, and it's also fair to say that the offense has been a problem, and it's not a new problem. It does carry over from this, but there are bigger issues that I see that are bothersome. Go back to January, they weren't ready to play Cincinnati, and they weren't ready to play last night.
All right, no, they certainly weren't when you lose 24-22 to a previously 3-win team. So we are waiting to hear from head coach Sean McDermott. Again, scheduled 4 p.m. Zoom. It's taking a little bit of time, and I know we'll take that just as soon as that Zoom call begins. For Vic Carucci, I'm Adam Benigni. Kate, let's send it back into you for now.